Good morning, and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Mary Ann Clark, and I will be your co-celebrant this morning. Our minister, Lori King Nelson, is in the pulpit. You are welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you came from, no matter what your background is. You are welcome to join us in our spiritual journey. You are welcome to join us as we sing songs that uplift our very being. You are welcome to join us in community as we learn, live, and love together. All are welcome as we worship that which gives us meaning and value. No matter what you call this building, this hour, or this gathering of people, we worship as one body illuminated by the light of the chalice. If you're a visitor today and you haven't yet signed in, please do. There's a visitor's table by the front door. Signing in will give us the opportunity to acknowledge your visit and to place you on our mailing list to receive our weekly emails and our monthly newsletter. Before we continue with the service, we have a few announcements. First, Colleen Brewer has an announcement.
Hi. Joy Fletcher will soon be leaving to move out of state. Her actual departure date is not yet known, so some of her friends are gathering today right after the service in the parlor for a brief farewell. We will be presenting Joy with a small gift and lots of good wishes. If you would like to join us, grab a snack in the library if you want to. Then join us in Jagger's parlor for just a few minutes. Thank you.
And Stephanie Ryburn has an announcement.
Hey everybody, if you open your order of service, there is something about a scavenger hunt. I thought this would be a fun activity where each week there's a list of items that we should be able to see throughout our days, wherever we go, like to work or to the grocery store or hanging out with our kids at the park. There's also some opportunities to go discover. So I hope everybody participates. When you take pictures, you'll send them to my email, and then I will create a really cool PowerPoint or presentation at the end so we can look at all the different places we've been. All right, thank you. I hope everybody participates.
Lorraine Levine wants everyone to know there is a Justice Network Coalition event Sunday, April 27th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Fort Worth. And blood drive. There is a Carter Blood Drive Sunday, May 4th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So come and bring your blood with you. And leave a little of it behind. Okay, this is going to be up in the hall, right? And now please settle comfortably for our musical prelude.
Thank you, Misha. I know we're all looking forward to the wonderful music we're going to hear today. Like the transformation of the caterpillar to a butterfly, so are we resurrected. May we rise anew together as a church where grace and love are felt through our words and our actions.
We now invite you to rise in body or spirit for the chalice lighting, our opening hymn, and our spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from our Minister Emerita, Marjorie Montgomery. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Please join now in singing our opening hymn, number 118, This Little Light of Mine. Pages here in front of the chancel.
Hello. Test, test, test. Oh, you guys can hear me. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter, perhaps? So what are you guys' favorite parts of Easter? Sharing the stuff that you find. What about you, Hunter? What is your favorite part of Easter?
You know what?
Getting a lot of eggs. That's a good one. Matthew? Okay. What about you, Ronan? What's your favorite part of Easter? A nap. And then you guys, of course?
I basically take that and
Food. That's a good one.
baking things, like make
Yeah.
cake. This our cake. Our
I think one of my favorite things about Easter is Easter means so many different things to so many different people. So when we talk about our human experience, our history and our faith and our religion relies on stories. Stories is all we have. Stories are all we have. We may call it history. We may call it theology or religion, but at the end of the day, they're stories. Do you guys know who Jesus is? There's some familiarity. That's good. So
I learned that in my old class.
you did?
Yeah.
Yes, Jesus did kind of die. Spoiler alert. But yes, so the Christians believe that today is a very special holy day.
I know that because then I told you that.
Yeah. So the Christians believe that Christ had died on the cross and was taken his body into the tomb, and he had resurrected 3 days later. And that's what we celebrate Easter for, because it is the rising of spirit. Now, granted, you do not have to listen to the story. You can take the meaning behind it. But I like to see Easter, and I like to see our risings and our own risings of love and consciousness as well. Now, also, this is an important holiday for pagans as well, because we are celebrating the spring and the age of fertility from, I think it's Yoste, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
No, it's that.
yeah. But at the end of the day, both of these holidays really call us to love one another and raise each other's spirits. So, I'm going to ask you guys a quick question. What is something that you cannot touch that you can share with people this Easter? Love. Okay. Love. Okay.
Basically, everyone can touch love. Candy.
Candy.
Air.
Air. Okay.
Fan.
Okay.
Them a fan.
Okay.
Them a fan.
Okay. What about compassion? Compassion, love for one another, and feeling for you.
Info dumping.
Info dumping, yeah.
Stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
Give stuff. So like info dumping. Anyway.
Stories. Yes. So I want you guys each, I don't know if you guys are going to leave here and go eat a dinner or go visit family, but I want you guys to remember that today is a day of love and raising each other's spirits. So I want you to go out, hug the people that you love, tell them you love them. Life is too short to be quiet and sad. So, the end.
I forgot.
Can we sing the children out, please? The bunny had run away.
We'll now sing the children out with hymn number 414. And now Dean Patterson is going to talk to us about stewardship.
Thank you. Okay. All right. This church is a lot of things to a lot of different people. It's a place to grow, to learn, to find community, to feel just a little bit safer. It gives us a place to stand firmly so that we can reach out and offer more of ourselves to our surrounding community. For me, this church has been a place for fellowship, a symbol that there are people out there who are willing to stand up for what's right, and a reminder that there are still people who value justice and interdependence. It's a place that values education in all its myriad of forms and encourages seeking. I come from a fundamentalist church where there was no community for people like me. I've seen how these groups treat people who are different, even if those differences are small. They thrive because there is a purity hierarchy that is so easy to fall to the bottom of. There is no room for learning new things, for seeking, for true connection, and that's intentional. They thrive when people are alone and desperate, when people will do anything, change anything to fit in. We all face a society where those goals are taken up by larger threats that seek to remove the blessings of education, justice, and interdependence. We are all struggling and overwhelmed by the times we live in. But the only way we have a chance is if we fully embrace that we are dependent on each other, that we only stand if we're all arm in arm. This church has done a lot of good work in the past. We've helped and cared for others both in our congregation and without. We've engaged with others in times of joy and crisis, and we've worked to support our community in living our values. We have the potential to be so much more. We have the potential for our lighthouse to reach further, to shine brighter through the fog, to do more good. But that work can't be done by us working alone, not on a larger scale and not on a smaller scale. We need people in RE classrooms, in committee meetings, in the kitchen, greeting, organizing, doing all of the work because we have very few hired staff. The functioning of this church is in our hands. And we need money for the staff we do have, to keep the building in good repair, for justice work, for the materials we use to educate ourselves. Every resource you put into this community keeps it running, keeps the oil in the lamp for another day. We have the power to create real change with this church as a vessel, but only if we pool our resources together and work as a group. This church can only thrive if we're operating as a team to keep that vision going. We need money to keep the lights on, and we need hearts and hands here to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. The offertory we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to one another. Like singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation, it reminds us of the form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to be together, to worship together, to support our community and the values of our faith. For ours is the work of creation. Ours is the work of inviting people into an irresistible movement rooted in our belief that a new world is possible. And the center of our work is love and joy and the spirit of abundance. These are the things we are fighting for, and these are the things that we are fighting with. May we know deep in our bones that this is the call of our faith. It is our custom to share our undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week. We do this on a quarterly basis for a nonprofit or charitable organization. Our Share the Plate recipient for the second quarter of 2025 is the Underground, sponsored by the Unbound Now, to help victims of human trafficking. If you prefer, donations can be made using a QR code that is on the back of the order of service. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. Will the ushers and the choir please come forward?
Were you watching their expressions? Yes, yes. Those beautiful faces singing about happiness and joy. We're so fortunate here. Our reading this morning is from Bob Goff. I'm always in a hurry. I put my socks on 2 at a time. I lace up my tennis shoes while I run to save a couple of minutes. I order sushi so I don't have to wait for them to cook the fish. And I don't even like sushi. When I'm not in a hurry, I spend my time being impatient. It's so extreme, sometimes I think I make coffee nervous. While living my life this way has worked great for me, I started to wonder how it was working for the people around me. So I asked. Guess what I found out? My impatience was driving them nuts. A few weeks later, I found a beautiful kids' book that changed everything for me. It was a book about buckets, and its premise was simple. We become in our lives what we put in our buckets. I knew what I needed to fill mine with: patience. I decided to put the book to the test, so I went to a hardware store and bought a metal bucket. I carried it everywhere for 3 weeks as an experiment. Galvanized aluminum and a wire handle. I looked like a dairy farmer. I took my bucket with me in cars, sailboats, subways, everywhere. People would ask if I had a bladder problem. Actually, I'd say jokingly, I do. But then I would say, I have an even bigger problem. I'm really impatient. I let them know how I used the bucket as a reminder to fill my life with patience every day. If we fill our buckets with a bunch of business deals, we'll turn into business people. If we fill them with arguments, we'll become lawyers. If we fill them with a critical spirit, we'll become cynics. If we fill them with joy, we'll experience tremendous happiness. I believed in the concept behind the bucket so wholeheartedly, I filled my bucket with sprinkled donuts one day just to see what would happen. But here's the simple message. If we fill our buckets with love, we can actually become love. We can pretend to have all the game we want, but it's how we engage with the grocery bagger or the bank teller or the auto mechanic that lets everyone know where we really are. I still get it wrong more than I get it right. People will figure out what we really believe by seeing what we actually do. Though often I try to make it look otherwise, most of the time I make everything about me, my schedule, my timing, how I'm feeling, and how big of a hurry I'm in. I talk a good game, but I find myself doing exactly what I said I wouldn't do, and not doing what I said I would do. Slowly, I'm acting like my purpose is to love the people around me the way I should. As much as I'd like to make it more complicated and cover for my inaction, it's really that simple. People don't grow where they're planted. They grow where they're loved. I realize I look pretty silly with my bucket, but I probably looked even sillier with all my pride, selfishness, and impatience, even more to people closest to me. I still mess up more than I want. When I do, instead of beating myself up, I speak to myself in a gentle and kind voice, reminding me again to stop laying sod where I'm trying to plant seeds in my life. My reason is simple. It's more important for us to grow than for us to look finished. I need to realize I'm just not quite there yet. At this time in our service, we pause to honor and give time and attention to those things most important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts, and to honor our time together with the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week, there is a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope before the service. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during the service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of the chancel. In our book of memory and hope this morning, we have been asked to remember that yesterday, Jane Collins, Dan Levine, Lorraine Levine, Jerry Chilcutt, Julie Hevelone, and Leanne Taylor attended the hands-off protest and march in downtown Fort Worth, protesting the current administration's policies. A great example of All People's Church showing up, as well as supporting the Tarrant County Justice Network. Also, the Fort Worth protest made the New York Times article. Nice. We pause at this time to hold and honor the sorrows and celebrations among us, including those deeply felt but left here unspoken. Let us pause for a moment of silent meditation and music. Our meditation words come from Susan McGinn. Let us do the unthinkable thing. We'll sit and breathe together on the edge of our seats in a world that pollinates and reproduces, shape-shifting and breaking into bloom. Let us sit and breathe together as one breath. Sit still just long enough for each of our dreams to rise and silently hover over us. Dreams mingling like old transcendent friends, floating, finally free and light. Each of our dreams stripping away fear like unnecessary winter layers that obey gravity all the way to the ground. Far too heavy for the likes of us, we, the living, on Easter Sunday. Thank you, Misha. Within my words this morning, there will be 2 short selections from Tanya Runyon. I remember as a small child sitting in Sunday school and learning the little rhyme about the church. That, see if my arthritic fingers can do this now. This is the church, and this is the steeple, and you open it up, and there's all the people. I know a lot of you know that also. I later understood this to also mean mosques and synagogues and temples and other places where people gather to practice their faith and or their beliefs. But it wasn't until I was much older that I began to pick apart this idea and see that I was wrong, and that what I'd learned as a child had shaped my perception of what the church was and what it required of me. It gave me an inaccurate view of the values set forth by my elders and their elders and their elders regarding my responsibility to those around me and those in the community where I lived. Reverend Charlie Holt remembered a time when his bishop had corrected him when he referred to his church's worship space as the sanctuary. The bishop said, properly, the sanctuary is the space behind the altar rails, and the building should be referred to as the church. So everything from the last step out, y'all are just a building. Okay. From a technical, architectural, vocabulary perspective, he was not wrong. But Reverend Holt could not accept that definition because of the misaligned priorities on buildings, programs, and institutions. See, if we traveled back in time, our Judeo-Christian roots would show us that many times there were no physical buildings to meet in, and the programming came from a variety of sources, but most often it was delivered by itinerant preachers reading from scraps of parchment shared out from other preachers and self-proclaimed prophets. And where was their building? If the gathering was small, it might be held in someone's home or tent. If the gathering was large, it was outside. So what do you call a group of people learning and worshiping together with no building? Are they the church? Are we the church? And what does that mean if we are? It is finished by Tanya Runyon. So why, beloved, do you live as if it's not? You twist and cry on beds of wasps and nails. You whip yourself with lead and leather thoughts and stretch your body out on rumbling rails. Rehashing sin is prodigal and dull. Confess, of course, then undertake to breathe and crack apart your shame-hardened shell. Release the dread you've ground between your teeth. So believe, please. Redemption needs no help. It's insulting when you crucify yourself. At a time when people like us and values like ours are needed most, we find ourselves ill-equipped to open our arms and hearts and worship space because we're busy beating ourselves up for not being enough or beating others down for being too much. We tell ourselves that we're better off alone or someplace else. We tell ourselves anything that we must in order to make sense of our feelings of inadequacy or our deficit of understanding. We lose sight of our own unbreakable connection to the greater creation and to our neighbor because we think the building is the church and we are mere people who come and go at will with no responsibility to one another. It is Easter Sunday. Passover, Mahavir Jayanti, Vaisakhi, Ridvan. These are holy times when we are asked to resurrect our commitment to our faith and beliefs. This is a time to leave our old selves behind and rise up anew as a stronger, more loving and committed church, embracing who we are and using those strengths and talents to carry us into the future. But we can't do this if we're chained to our old selves, weighted down by thoughts and words that harm and blur our vision of a church that longs to hum with loving and living energy. We can't do this if we remain lost and alone. Why Have You Forsaken Me? By Tanya Runyon. It is the question I get asked most often. If I'd planned this all along, why cry out as if taken by surprise? Being lost is not the problem. It's knowing that someone lost you, back-turned, shutting off the lights to make sure. I want to feel what all the forsaken feel. The sex-trafficked preteen staring at the ceiling, imagining herself as the invisible silk of a spider web. The veteran screaming at himself in an alley. Even the rich couple hunched over martinis, phones scrolling in each other's eyes, have plenty of despair to settle. I cry out, a question that really has no answer, because it's what you all cry out every hour. Why the pain? Why the loneliness? Why the loss of even the smallest things, like hamsters stiffened in children's cages? Why crowns of thorns pressed into the temples of all 117 billion of you who've ever breathed? Some of you would give everything for a dark night of the soul, for at least you would have one, a self to mourn and love. I think the challenge in our day is to renew our emphasis on the true church, the one built with living stones, our spiritual temple, the living and loving body of our church. The church needs you. It needs your smile, your grumbling, your justice, your love, your peace and discontent, your loneliness, and your hugs. It is Easter. Breathe deeply. Each time we inhale, we breathe in the past and present together. When we exhale, we breathe out the past, present, and future. Not just my breath or your breath, but our breath. It's a long inhale that lured the waters and chaos in the beginning of time into creativity and creation, and the long divine exhale that breathes that same life force into our bodies today. It is Easter. Breathe deeply. Each time we inhale, we breathe justice and injustice together. Each time we exhale, we breathe more justice than injustice into the future. Our breath, our collective breath rising up to ease the suffering of those we know and those who will never know us. It is Easter. Breathe deeply. Each time we inhale, we breathe in the raw pain of those who have suffered pain and loss and tragedy. Each time we exhale, we breathe love and healing into the future. It is Easter. Breathe deeply. We come from histories and realities of abuse and poverty and anxiety and fear, but we also come from triumph, joy, and the resurrection of love. So breathe deeply the trauma and triumph of the ages and exhale the collective love that fills your aching soul. You are not alone. You will never be alone. We are the church, and together we rise. So, this is the church, and the church is its people, and we gather to learn how to love other people. Will you rise in body or spirit and join us in the closing hymn? Number 208, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. What? Thank you. It's 203.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Before I give the benediction, I just want to share with you one of my most favorite Easter memories of all. We used to do a flowering cross. Well, that church still does it. And so Easter morning, everybody would bring in their flowers, either from their gardens, or they would stop and buy some. And the cross was laid out on a bench so that everybody could put their flowers in it. And then at the beginning of I see some people nodding their heads. Yes, they've seen this before. The cross is carried in, like very dramatically, and set into a holder on the chancel. Well, while it was being prepared, those of you who know my son Dimitri, we heard somebody in the narthex singing loudly "Beneath the Cross of Jesus," and we all walked out and found him underneath, laying on the floor and putting the flowers in. It comes up on my Facebook memories every year, and it is one of the most delightful memories I have of Easter. So, there, now it's in your minds too. May the peace and love you seek be found here. May the peace and love the world needs be found in you. Service has now ended, and we invite everyone to join us for coffee and conversation in the library at the back of the sanctuary, or at the back of the building, the church. The door's going to open.